Hello.
Is it working? Yes.
Merilin, I know you've got a lot of, yeah, I was told we need to stand away from the slides. So you've got some great programs going on, and I know you're going to talk more about those, but you have something very interesting going on at Startup Turkey, and you're going to have a special prize for a startup. Can we talk just for a moment about that?
Yes, we can. Who wants to know about the prize?
Yeah, who wants a prize? Yeah, right? It's not bad.
So yes, we've been basically going around the globe looking for cool startups to maybe benefit from Estonia. And we're here presenting a prize for one startup to come to Estonia in November. Not the best month to visit. It's pretty cold and pretty dark. But we have the Tallinn Startup Week happening, which is, Sander, can you tell me how many events were happening last year? 63 events in one small city called Tallinn, which has 400,000 people, and the city was bustling with startups. So maximum 5 people from one team can get a round-trip accommodation and our support to visit it, to meet with VC funds, and just saying that by the latest statistic, there's 150 million euros on the market for early-stage startups. So we want to bring those startups from Estonia and abroad to meet them. And yeah, I hope it will motivate you to do good on Monday.
Monday,
yes.
Yeah. And so the company that you're looking for, it sounds like can really leverage a lot of the resources and connect, is a good complement for the community that exists in Estonia. So.
Yeah, I will talk about the Startup Visa a lot, but we are building an international community because besides having 1,000 startups, we need to have international startups because any successful startup ecosystem has international people there. Brilliant. So yeah, this is what I do.
Cool. Excellent. Well, thank you. And just so you know, you're just standing. You're now off the slide. So good stuff. Excellent.
All right. Welcome. I am so happy to be back in Istanbul. It's my 3rd time and my 2nd time in Startup Turkey. I've been in Startup Istanbul. It's always a pleasure to come back here and to meet with the Turkish startups, but also like all of the startups from all over the world. And it's such an inspirational event every time. My background. I was actually working for around 2 years in Garage 48. That was on the slides as well. So I'm first of all a part of the Estonian startup community, not only a government worker. And I was doing hackathons in Estonia, in the Central Eastern Europe region. So I've been working with startups for the past 3 years now, and I don't intend of stopping anytime soon. But Startup Visa. Basically, around 3 years ago, or 4 years ago even, the Estonian startup founders came together with the government to discuss about a real issue that was kind of inhibiting the growth of Estonian startups, which means that we didn't have talent. We have 1.3 million people. We have a lot of talent, but it's already employed in those big startups that we were talking about. And we needed a way to just bring in talented people from outside of EU to join the Estonian startup ecosystem to build even more value. And besides employees, we also want to welcome international founders to the community who can develop their products and businesses in Estonia. So the Startup Visa, I will bring in this comparison because I'm always asked about it. I know that Alex will talk about e-residency more later on, but the Startup Visa allows you to actually move yourself, your family, and your employees to Estonia to become a part of the EU market and to scale globally through Estonia. E-residency, just quickly, it's virtual access. There are some slight connections between them, but they are not the same thing. One doesn't grant you the other, just to make it clear, but we will be happy to answer all of those questions later on as well. But just to point out, the success of the Estonian Startup Visa. In the first year, it was launched in 2017 in January. We didn't think that it would be that successful. We thought maybe we will get 50 applications for the startup status, which grants you the right to apply for the visa or temporary residence permit. And then within 1 year, we got 300 applications, so 6 times the amount that we were anticipating. And in 2 years, we've had 1,300 applications for the startup status. It means that any company that wants to relocate their company to Estonia, or an existing Estonian startup who wants to bring in employees, they have to apply for the startup status. It means that a 7-member committee looks through your application, which is very similar to what you would see if you apply for a VC fund or an accelerator. And then we decide by our definition of whether or not this company is a startup. And now I know that many people will ask, what is a startup by your definition? We're actually a country where the startup definition is written in law, in the Aliens Act, as we like to call it. But it's, to us, a startup is a tech-based company with a scalable business model and a quick global growth potential in that matter. So I know that a lot of countries think that maybe restaurants can be startups or yoga studios can be startups, but for our case, it has to have a tech component in it. So. But, okay, it's, I hope you can see it. If you don't see it in the back rows, this is on our website as well. You can see what are the main countries that are applying for the startup status and who are the most successful. But you may ask, why is Estonia, why is Startup Estonia in Turkey? Because it may seem a little bit maybe random even. But I would want to point out that besides Estonia, Estonians know what a startup is. Estonian startups are quite successful in explaining what their startup idea is. But internationally, the top 3 countries that we go to and we promote ourselves are Russia, Turkey, and Ukraine. It means that we see that these countries, or the applications coming from these countries, are the most successful in getting the startup status. It means also that the startup communities in these countries have a very similar understanding to what a startup is. And therefore, we welcome those countries' startups very much. Besides that, we have in the top 10 China, United States, Iran, Morocco, India, and Pakistan. But we've had applications from over 80 countries, so it's really gaining global interest, which is very nice for a very small country as Estonia is. If you can't see, then Estonia is this small dot here, very small. So yeah. But it's really cool to see how much interest it generates around the world. So a little bit about the numbers. These figures show how much we've grown over the past 2 years. How many people are actually coming to Estonia? So in 2017, we had, I'm not going to do maths on the stage because I'm known to be very bad at maths in live situations, but you can see it yourself. In total, by the end of 2018, we had 931 people either already in Estonia or granted the right with the visa or the temporary residence permit to relocate to Estonia. I just received the first quarter numbers, and if I'm not mistaken, in the first quarter the number was already 225 people. This year we're looking to include 1,000 people with the Startup Visa into our ecosystem, which the founder of Verif, Kaarel Kotkas, another Estonian very successful startup, said that it's a very humble goal. Because to be honest, we need more people, we need more talented people to join us, to join our startups, to join our ecosystem, to get this ecosystem on the next level. So you're all very welcome. But just so that I as a government employee is not only preaching and saying that, oh, Estonia is so great, here are some examples of the people who have come to Estonia with the Startup Visa. So Pavel is from Russia. He was in Moscow, which has a very good startup ecosystem, but in some cases it's difficult to develop some softwares which are not allowed in the country. So he decided to move to Estonia, and now he is building aerospace hardware in one of the tech parks, Tehnopol, which is the oldest tech park in Estonia. Then Kwun from Hong Kong, he came to work in an Estonian startup and then soon discovered that, wow, Estonia's startup ecosystem, you can get close to VCs, you can get close to founders of Skype, TransferWise, Bolt, Pipedrive, and they're all really welcoming and they want to mentor you because they want to see the Estonian startup ecosystem sustain. So Kwun started his own startup, and now he's also quite successful. He just participated in Techstars London, and now he's back bringing Slack employees and Slack people to Estonia in 2 weeks. So we also see that the foreigners who come to Estonia to build their home basically there. It's not only about building a company. They want to come to Estonia to start building their life there. So he's also contributing to the community. And then Avery from Canada, he came to study in Estonia and then soon discovered that maybe it would be even cooler to do a startup in Estonia. So he did. He just last year got his first investment from Lift 99. That's also a community organization in Estonia. So I think what I'm trying to say here is that there are so many people coming to Estonia and really seeing the value that we offer to them and really seeing how collaborative and approachable the people who make a difference in their businesses are. So, okay. So if you're interested in maybe getting to know more than what we are just speaking on stage, then I would welcome you to join Latitude 59, which is already in 2-3 weeks. This is the main tech event and the main event where you can see all of the startups and all of the organizations coming together and you can actually meet them firsthand. Then Robotics. It's the biggest robotics festival in the world. And it's happening in November. Last year we had, if I'm not mistaken, 27,000 people attending it. And then Startup Day. It's next year. It's in my hometown of Tartu, which has 100,000 people. But it is a very nice event for people who want to get into the startup mindset, who want to see maybe early stage startups. So I welcome you to join every one of them. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to have a prize for one team to come to Tallinn Startup Week, which is happening on from the 11th to the 15th of November. But keep an eye on our website, on our Facebook. We put up our events on Facebook, definitely. So we will be back in Istanbul as well. And just, yeah, come meet us wherever we are. And that's it for me. I hope you have a lot of questions. We will be here. So, and Sander back there, he's also very eager to answer all of your questions afterwards.
Thank you, Merilin. So you want to do questions now? Excellent.
I can.
So what questions do we have about Startup Estonia? Yes, please. And if you don't mind, would you say your name and your organization? That would be wonderful.
And where you're from as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
my name is Lara Shaheen. My name is Lara Shaheen. I'm Syrian. I live in Jordan. I come from Jordan. I have a small establishment to empowering women in economy. So my question is, I think or I feel you're looking for a startup who make technology.
Yes.
Yes. So what about us? So we make a handmade crafts and traditional products. So that's my question.
I mean, yes, the Startup Visa, it has a very distinct purpose to bring in, first of all, technical talent to Estonia. But we decided to spread the ability for foreign founders of tech startups to come to Estonia as well. I would love to welcome every single person who wants to do any kind of enterprise or products, but in this case, the Startup Visa, yes, it's only for tech. But at the same time, we have organizations in Estonia like Garage 48, who is doing empowering women hackathons all over the world. I know that they are right now maybe going to Afghanistan to help local female founders to start building their enterprises and maybe get successful. So there are ecosystem organizations like Tech Girls, Tech Sisters, Digi Girls, who are helping girls, women in Estonia and abroad to kind of, develop themselves.
Cool. Just a note for those here, and I didn't say this out at the beginning. I know there are probably interests in having conversations, which is great. The conversations should be outside. Here we want to give honor to the person who's on stage, and you'll want that same honor when you're on stage. So we want to give that as well. So again, okay to have conversations, just on the other side of the wall is much more preferred. So other questions for Merilin while she's here?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Please. And say your name and where you're from as well. A microphone is coming, maybe? I'm pretty loud enough. Yeah, but they need this for the recording.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Thank you.
Hi, my name. Okay.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we can hear.
So my name is Kazi. I'm from Bangladesh and from a startup called Sigmind. So our question is, what do you mean by big growth or quick growth for the third criteria?
Quick global growth.
Quick global growth. Yeah.
So it is a part of my speech on Monday, but in Estonia we have most expertise in growing global companies. Because we're a small country, any company, any startup that starts in Estonia and wants to be successful, they have to be they have to be global from day one. There's no option because Estonia is not a market. And with startups, you expect a lot of growth, and you expect this quick global growth. It doesn't mean that you have to be in every country in the world. For example, pipe drives' biggest market is Brazil, or as Liisi said, Bolt. They are basically the same product as Uber. Nothing unique about a taxi service provider, but what makes them so successful is that they've really focused on the developing markets, especially Africa, and this is why they're valued at such a high amount. So just thinking of how to go across above your borders or behind your borders, it doesn't make sense for a startup to stay in one country. In Bangladesh, in India and China, the case is different because you have a lot of people. But I would say that in Turkey and in Russia, I see a lot of companies that maybe focus on their home market in the beginning, but then when they want to become global, they have to change their strategy. So why not just have the global strategy from day one?
Fantastic. Probably have time for one more question. I think there was someone just to your left. Yeah. Just to your left. There you go. Perfect.
Hello, my name is Ömer. We are ProCube company. I'd like to understand what is the mindset behind the Startup Estonia. As you shown in the map, Estonia is a very small country, and I really understand the logic behind of this mindset. How can you transform your country from a small country to polishing?
Of course.
Like.
I mean, I like to bring the example of Singapore, which is also very, very small, but has a lot of connections to the outside world. And I think Alex will probably talk about this a little bit more. But if we go back in history, now comes a history lesson. I'm sorry, guys. But Estonia, as a small country, has always we understand that as a small country, you have to have a lot of connections internationally, and to have people around the world who feel that Estonia is important to them. And we only have 1.3 million people, and I mean, we want to have more international people basically caring about Estonia as well. And that means for the startup ecosystem, it means more foreign investments, more foreign mentors. Just it's all benefiting the companies and in the end the people who live in Estonia. So
it's kind of necessity or obligation for whole country, something like that.
It is, but I would say that for bigger countries it's probably not that big of a necessity, but for a very small country it's not even a necessity, it's logical.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, questions afterwards, we would love to answer all of them.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Merilin.
much.